All right, welcome back to my definitive question and answer series regarding my book Dark Mode. And we're into the juice today. The Dark Mode 02, chapters 001, 002, and 003 of the Josh story. Josh, me, is probably the most prolific story in this book. It's really the most, what's the word? It's really reaching for the stars. It has this nice disclaimer, file extension name, Dark Mode 02. Would be more accurate if it said like Dark Mode P02 underscore 001 C001 chapter 1 dot Josh or something like that. The little disclaimer says, 1. Don't pound on the door. You will have to pay for damages. 2. Any possessions you had at the time of arrival are being held securely. You will receive them when you depart. Don't press the button. That's exactly what it said in Ye Olde County Jail. Something to that effect. Like transcribing it by memory is a little bit difficult to do, but I did my best. I really, really enjoyed reading the first 3 chapters of this story. After having read the whole Austin story yesterday and the day before, it left me like feeling like the book was maybe not quite as good as I'd hoped it would be. And then when I started reading this story, just it's day and night. So I wanted to go through a couple of things from this story. For the naming conventions, already discussed that. It's like a downloadable file, so it's the second part, so Dark Mode 02. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make Josh the first part, because it is a much better story. The prose is better, the content is better, it's just much better. In terms of writing, it doesn't use the omniscient perspective from all the other stories in the book. The fact that I am a screenwriter by training is pretty evident in this book. A lot of it reads exactly like a screenplay in the format of a book, but not this story. It has a first-person perspective, so hopefully in the writer's edition, well, not hopefully, I think I will change it around. So this will be Dark Mode Part 1, Josh, and it's important not only to say that the writing is better in this part than the Austin part, but also that the Austin part was one of the first stories in this book that I wrote chronologically. So I recall that I wrote Austin and Two Steps, maybe before anything else. And the real Austin actually read his own chapter before the character was named Austin. Before I really had the idea of making the character Austin, making Austin Austin, as funny as that might sound, he was just kind of a generic college student before I kind of made the decision to make Austin who he is now, which is someone who's maybe a bit more defined than he was at that time. Josh is also, the prose is just a lot better. It doesn't have the kind of clunky, I guess, kind of minimal prose of Austin. Austin very much in that kind of screenwriter tone. Austin, 22, a college student, is wearing this, and this is what he is feeling like, and this is what he said. It puts you into the head of Josh, and it's just it's much more enjoyable to read. Now, when it comes to the quotes from this book, and I could name a million, it's mostly stuff that is taken from real conversations. So there's a part where Josh is at the hospital, or Josh is getting arrested, and a guy says to him, "It's your fight." That's taken from the exact same scenario in real life. The exact same phrase was said to me by a person. So it's real. It's real is the best way that I can put it. I also think that in terms of real, this story it does a better job than probably any other book that has been written to this day that puts you in Minneapolis in 2025. The reality of having like a bunch of masked men on the street just grabbing people for no reason and things being just absolute nonsense, gibberish, like Chat GPT is determining your fate. That's what it was like to live in Minneapolis in 2025. And so it doesn't just tell my story, it really puts you in that city in that year. That said, I don't really want to say too much about the plot because I do really want readers to pick up this book on Amazon right now or when the writer's edition comes out. I'm really happy with it. A couple details. He's in jail cell 3 because that was the real number of the jail cell. Lots of little stuff like that. You'll notice he's in BC, jail cell 3 for blue collar. The Crohn's disease as a function in the story, I'm not really sure why Josh has Crohn's. It's not that important to the story that he has Crohn's as opposed to some other disease, but in my experience, a lot of people don't really understand. They don't really understand what autoimmune disorders are, or how that could manifest in a person. Crohn's is very easy to understand. That's the stomach, surgeries, can't eat certain foods. It's much easier than if I were to pick like some aggressive form of arthritis. A lot of the other stuff in the story, like Allison with a Y, that's not real. I mean, actually it is, but it's not. It's just taken from random things and put in there to give it some flavor, such as like the kids that are having picnic foods, and Andrew having blue mittens. Those details are just kind of to give it flavor, and also to give hints about blue collar. Neighbors living with a person that you never see. Again, that's taken from my life, but not necessarily that exact context. I wrote down a couple other quotes that I took verbatim from real life. They're all around me, man. Fair enough. That's in the book. That's from real life. Exact same situation. The realtor situation, that's not a thing that I want to talk about, but that's real. The going to the cabin all summer, that didn't happen, but an easier version of the truth, essentially. The idea that blue collar and dark mode are happening at the same time, that's just a way to try to explain to people what it was like to live in a city during a time where you had these two separate entities of people, like the Nick Shirleys of the world, and then like the actual people with the government. Like it felt like everybody was out to get you because everybody was in town making money from two very different sectors that were kind of working together, and at the same time they both seemed totally incompetent and like they had absolutely no idea what was happening. It was absolute chaos. It was awful. The 50K signing bonus is in there. That's great. The dark mode app photo feature that functions like the actual app that people were using on various people. Obviously, I had nothing, not obviously, but I had nothing to do with that whole mess. That doesn't mean that I wasn't in a database. I mean, anybody and everybody was in their databases and probably still is. It's absolute madness. I don't want to get into that too much, though. I'm trying to not get into it. So that's pretty much it for the first 3 chapters of the book. Best story in the book, most interesting story in the book, and right now I'm actually writing Dark Mode 3. That's going to go into some of the right now I'm envisioning it as an ensemble cast of people that work for blue collar and like very high level jobs, but all jobs are minimum wage at this point in my story's universe. So I'm going to keep reading it, and I will hopefully make another video with my thoughts, opinions. Have any questions, put them in the comments section. And if you haven't gotten the book, buy it today, Amazon, and I'll see you next time on my official Q&A.